The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, good morning, good evening. We'll get started in 4 5 minutes. Hello everyone, welcome. First session for our Selenium Live project, September 2017. So what we're going to be doing today is giving you a walkthrough. The first thing is what is the application under test. The second thing that we're doing is what is in scope and what we expect for you all to do in the project. Third is the fact that once the teams are finalized, you will get to know who's going to be working in your team. And once we have this ready, then you have about 4 weeks to go about executing this project with our guidance and without our guidance. So when I say without our guidance, what we mean is we want you to work as independently as possible to try and discover ways and means to execute this project. But if you do not have access to our tutorials, it's definitely a challenge. And hence, we only give this project to the participants for our training, be it video-based training or live training. So with me, I have Sakib. Sakib is the QA manager at Varkasa Inc. and he is based out of the Hyderabad office. And he will kind of guide you step by step through this project along with me on how we will be executing, how what kind of a reviews we'll do. And also the last one is as we go along, we will look at your performance based on that, get you as an intern into Varkasa for the development of any. All right. The application and test right now is Eniot Orange. So Sakib,
Hello all, good morning, good evening.
yeah. Uh,
Hi Karthik.
Sakib, take over, please. Yeah. Thank you. You can start from the first screen. Just open a private browser and go to Eniot Orange, Sakib. Show the sign up page. And then we can come here.
Yeah. So team, I'm gonna show you the walkthrough of the application and give the brief idea how the application works. So this is the Inuit Orange uh, website. So here uh, you can see an option join us. So if you are not a user, you just register here and create your own account by filling all these details. Okay. So once you get registered, uh, you can sign in. So I'm just signing with the account which I have. So here the first thing which you can see here is the dashboard. Okay. Here we have all the data which is related to the test steps, which includes modules, how many modules are there in this AUT, and test cases, test steps, and uh, below you can see here the reusable components, which includes elements, test data, user defined keywords, built-in keywords. So team, I hope everyone knows what is the NER. Is there anyone else like who is not aware of anything like basic, uh, not aware of, not even heard this name? Don't worry, I will explain you what is NER and how the workflow of this application is. Okay.
Yeah. And just to add to that, team, Eniot is not a simple application. It's a little complex application. It'll take time for you to understand. But the way we've built it is very uh, user friendly. So it's easy for us to learn. And as you are building test cases and so on, it'll become clear. And we will do any number of walkthroughs that is needed to make sure that you understand the functionality of this web application. Yes, Sakib, go ahead, please.
Okay. So in the test plan, we have test setup. In that, first we need to give the AUT. We need to fill the AUT details like what is the AUT name, the URL of the live version, and which type of industry it is. Okay, so you can fill the details here, and I have already details, so I'm getting an option showing the option like edit. If not, it will have an option to add. Okay, so in the modules, you need to add the module name, the module ID, and the module description. So once you fill all these three details, when you click on add module, the module gets added. Like here, if you can see my screen, right? So here all the modules, data of the module page, like module name, module ID, module description. So you can edit or delete it, and you can search for the module. We have an option. So I will go to the next page, which is test cases. So once we create the module, we have an option to select the created modules here. So you can see the list of created modules. Okay, we need to select one of the module ID here, and we need to give the test case ID for it, and we need to give the test case description for the test case. Okay, so it's up to you team, like the description, whatever you feel which is easy for you, so you can give the particular test case description for that, and naming convention is up to you. So once you fill all the details, you can go to the test steps, which is the next page. Okay, so here this is the main key functionality for the framework team actually. So the test steps, we have an option to select. The first field is module ID. We can select the module ID for which we need to write the test steps. Okay, so we'll be able to get the module description automatically here once we select it. Okay, so we need to select the test case ID too. Here, the test step ID means it is the flow team. Like, what is the first step? First step will be initially like open a browser, right? So you need to give the data here, like open a browser. The second will be like navigate to the URL or whatever. And here in the test description, you need to give the description for that particular test step. So the next field gonna be like type of keyword. Here we have two options to select, which is user-defined keyword, and the second one is built-in keyword. So what is the difference between these is, so built-in keywords are the standard keywords which will be understood for the framework in your framework. Like for example, here are the list of keywords. Okay, you can see here. So this is the open browser, navigate browser, close browser. These are the keywords which will be understood for the uh, framework which we built for the in-year. Okay, so there are nearly 66 of built-in keywords. So we need to select one among it. So when it comes to the user-defined keyword, what this is means, uh, user-defined keyword is nothing but set of combination of built-in keywords. For example, where it comes to use means, for example, if you say, if you take one application, uh, for that you need to write test step from starting open browser to navigate open browser, navigate browser, and enter username, enter password, click on login, and verify the whether it is login or not. So all these five steps are there, right? So for every test case, you need to do the same five steps. But to make it more simpler, what we did is we made a user-defined keyword, which if we create one user-defined keyword here, all if you give all the details over here for one single time, we see I just said like open browser, navigate browser. Okay, so this one will help the user to skip five steps repeatedly. Like for every test case, you don't need to repeat the same all the five steps. So one we need to just select one time. That's it. Okay, is it clear to you? So you can create here. Okay, once you click on create, it will open it in a new tab, and you need to fill all the details here. Okay, like HL guide, HL guide description. So add this one. Actually, the naming convention is a little bit different here. So once you select the created HLK ID, uh, you get the HLK step ID. So you need to give the step number like 1, 2, 3 or whatever, and you need to give the description for it, and you need to see select the which built-in keyword it is. So in the type of element, you can have the option to reuse, and one time you can select one among it. I will explain to you once again. So this type of test data here, you can see the two options of one is reusable and one-time use. So reusable can be created here from here itself, or you can go from this thing, and you can create here also, like in these pages. Okay, or else you can click this create option, which will open a new tab, and you can add the information. And once you add the information, if you click on refresh thing, uh, you will be able to see the created reusable component like element id or test data. Okay, I'm coming to the type of elementing. So here we have an option to reusable and one time. What is reusable? Uh, so reusable, where it helps means um, if the elements will be using that element for multiple times in the application. So once we create the reusable components, it will be easy for the user to reuse it for the multiple times. Okay, so that's where we can create a reusable component and we can select the component from the list of created element. Okay, so if not it, the user can select one time use, so and can select the element type. These are the locator string. Okay, to locate the element, right? So once you select which type of element locator type is, then you need to enter the value here. Okay, so same thing with the type of test data. You have two options. One is reusable and one time. You can create here, and once you create here, it will open in the new tab. And you, if you click on refresh thing, it will then you can see the created test data here. So once you fill all the details, you need to click on add test tab. So once you add it, you can see here in the screen team in the tabular form. Okay, all the data which you have created. So, so I'm going to the next page, which is export test setup. So this one will help you to, uh, 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 I mean, you can view all the test management. This tool basically we have an. This is more like test management tool with the help of and also automation tool, right? So here you can export all the data which you have been created. Okay, so I'm just showing you. So whatever we have, all the pages will be we can export them into the Excel sheet. Okay, you can see all the data here. So when it comes to the test run setter, once all the related data for the test cases and test modules are there, test steps are there. So we can go to the test run setter, and here we have an option to select which test we can run. Okay, so if you want to select all test cases, so you can see here all the test cases related to that particular module. If not, you want to select individually, then you can go for the second option, and you can select yes or no. Okay, by default it will be in no. So if you select yes, you can get the field option will be enabled, where you can select the test data set ID for that particular test case. Okay, for your information, test data, uh, let me show you element map and test data once. So here in the element page, you can give the page name and that page description, element page description. Once you fill those two details and click on add element page, the element page gets added. Then you can select from here the select added element page. Then you can give a name for it, element name and element description, and you can select which type of locator which we are using for to locate that particular element, and give the value for that. So once you fill all those details and click on add element, the element gets added here. Okay. So these are the list of first table is list of element pages. The second one is the list of all element data. Okay, here you can see its path and value of it. Okay, so you can edit and delete same way. So when coming to the test data part, so you need to for a particular AUT, we need different sets of test data, right? So for example, you will say like you need to run one the test the AUT for Chrome browser. So you will give one test data set ID for the Chrome, and second same steps you can use for the test data set ID to like to Firefox or anything browser, or you can give invalid sets of test data in one set ID and valid credentials in another, because we need to check the application how it behaves with different test data, if it is valid test data or invalid test data. Okay. So here we have an option to give us test data set ID and test data set name. And once you give the details, if you click on add test data set ID, it will get added, and then you can select one from the list of test data set ID, then give the test data name for it, then give the test data value of uh, of that test data and click on add test data. So the test data will get added here in the table. Okay. So I'm moving back to the test run setup. So here, once we select the module, then we need to select the test data set ID for the,
Sakib, just a small interruption.
yeah.
Um, team, the questions that you have, you can start to put it there. Sakib will address them as we go along. So be a little patient with the answers, please. Let him finish with the flow of the demo, and then he'll look at the questions and answer it later. All right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you, Sakib. Go ahead.
So once we select the test data ID, you can view it here. What is the test data which we have used for this particular module, and what is the value? So everything you can view here. Okay. So once you select that, you need to click on Save Test Run Setup. So if you we need to give a name for the particular suite, test suite. Okay. So I'm just giving test one. So once we give a name and once we save it, the run setup will get saved. So we need to go back to the test run. Here you can save the you can see the saved test run. So this is the one which I have saved, right? Okay? So you can see here the list of saved test run setup. So you can export. We need to export it. So we need to export it in the Excel. So here we have the few steps which we need to follow actually. So here you can see prerequisite. Please install latest version of JRE. Here is the link, and we need to follow these six instructions. Okay. So the first one is this is the requirements for the hardware, and we can download here the jar file. So install the in-out application on our local machine. If you click on the download option, the jar file gets starts downloading, and you need to install it on your local machine, and we need to select the exported MX Excel from the run setup. So then we can execute test runs on the desktop app. After once the execution has been, we can upload the test results back to the in-your test results. So here we have an option to upload a zip file, so we can zip it all the results we will be getting in the HTML reports, and also in the Excel format we can zip all the related files to that, and we can upload here. So the scope of this project is we don't need to bother about the backend and everything. So only thing we need to test is uh, all the details which we are entering from the front end is getting in the proper way, and all the functionality and related conditions for everything. So we need to check it. So we need to build a framework uh, which can be like data driven, keyword driven, and hybrid framework, which is up to you team. So we need to uh, test the application. Okay. So I'm good, team. So Karthik, do you want me to start the Q&A?
Yes, we can. But before that, the primary purpose team is we will divide you all into the teams independently, maybe about 7 to 10 people in each one. And then you will be going about building an automation framework. Everyone knows what kind of frameworks we've built in our trainings and so on. Data driven, keyword driven, page object model combined into one. And we will review the performance every week, twice or thrice. And depending on that, we will be also getting you into the your development internship. So let's go with the Q&A, and I'll look at the questions as well along with Sakib, and we'll address those. Thank you. If you have a question, team, please put it on chat. If there's a need for you to speak out, then raise your hand and go to webinar.
So Hemant, so this is day one free demo. Actually, orientation session have been happened. So I hope it's good, right? Sheetal Patel. So okay, Sheetal. So you want me to repeat the user defined keyword, right? Let me. User defined keywords are nothing but, as I said, it is a set of built-in keywords. So for each test case, you need to follow set of test steps, right? So for each test case, you'll be having multiple test steps. So you need to write everything for login. For example, if you can assume like any banking application or anything, first you need to you need to log in into the application. Then you can go for further modules, right? To test. So this login thing is mandatory for every module. So the login test case includes nearly 1 to 5 steps, right? So to avoid those test steps repeatedly, you can create one user-defined keyword in which it will have all the 5 steps. Then for the second time, when you want for the other modules to run, then you don't need to write again all those 1 to 5 steps. You just can select the user defined keyword which has already 5 steps in it. I hope it cleared it, right? Ahmad, so what is HLK? HLK, previously we have named it as a HLK, Ahmad. So we just renamed it to the user defined keywords actually. Jeevita. No, Jivita, you can't able to see the test cases which are already there unless you have a data related to. So once you sign up, with no data will be present actually. Okay, you need to create everything. It's it's so we need the AUT will be in your orange, Ruxana, for your information. So we need to test this in your torrent. Okay, Kering chain. So no, the tool name is in your .com orange. So it's nothing to download. Okay, you can visit to this URL by entering this URL in your .com/orange, and you can sign up there and you can start using it. Naveen, your question is not clear. It will be better if you can provide a clear question. Jairam. The requirement document I will provide with you, team. The function requirement. like the field validations, everything I will provide you. Okay, no, don't worry about it. So you, Naveen, you need to give the complete URL of it, like www.inyo.com/orange. It will take you to the right page. Hindu, another. So you don't have. Uh, so basics of Selenium is required. Uh, okay, nothing. Not much Java needed. So once you start working with your team, you will get into it, Hindu. Don't worry, we will guide. Okay. Srikala Shastri? No, no. User defined guard is not what you think. As I said, it is the it is for reusable purpose. Like instead of giving all the test steps for that particular, if you create the user defined event, you can use that keyword, which will skip like 6 steps. You don't need to write all the steps, repeated test steps. So once you create the user defined keyword, including all those steps, it will be easy to for you to skip those things, and you can just complete the test step by selecting one in a single step. Okay. Kennedy? Uh, yes, yes, you can see those test cases. So I will share the URL in the chat room because most of them are getting confused. I will share the URL. Okay. Check the chat room. I will send the URL. Vinaya, no, we don't need it to add HLK multiple times. To avoid the multiple things, we are creating this user-defined keyword. Okay, to minimize the steps, which makes the user, uh, which makes the user easy to write all the, I mean, to maintain all the test management things. Okay. Okay, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat team. So as Karthik said, we need to uh, build a framework using keyword-driven, data-driven, and hybrid framework and POM. So each team, we will divide teams based on the locations and uh, things. So based on that, you need to work as a team, and you need to select one of the framework which you will be willing to work. So you need to start building the framework and start executing the test. So team, I'm waiting for any. questions, if you have any queries, please put it on the chat so that I can answer you. I hope I have answered all the questions, right? If I have missed anything, then let me know. Okay, Vinaya. So, okay, I will tell you. I will explain you. Let me go to the test steps where you can find an option to have where you can find reusable and one-time use. Okay. So what reusable means? So you can create here reusable, or you can select the already created here. Okay. So this is clear, right? So the thing, the the usefulness of the reusable thing is once we create it, for example, for the element page, I'm showing for the element page, right? So you can give a element page where you can find multiple elements in that particular web page. Okay, so if you already have created or listed out what are the elements present in that page, it will be easy for you to select reusable thing and just select the already created uh, element name. You can see here. Okay. So one-time use is if you feel like it won't be coming more and more, and you want to just enter it for the one time, so you can select, directly give the located type and the value of them, so that the application will based on that data we have provided, in your framework start execution. Okay, executing the things. Yes, Apeksha. So you can log in, but before that you need to register. No, once you register it, you can log in with your own credentials. Okay. So Ahmad, I'm going to show one test case. Okay. Actually, it is out of scope. So what we are not bothering about the backend, which means the in your framework, the execution part, everything. We are just we need to our scope is to check the front end UI part of the application for your information. You're welcome. So I'm waiting for the questions too. If you have any questions, please put it on the chat so that I can help. So Jairam is saying, make sure that you are going to the right URL and you just sign up with giving all the necessary required data, which are the mandatory fields, and click on sign up. Once you sign up, you will get a confirmation link to your email. Sorry, not the confirmation link. You will get sign up, and you can use the login and password which we have provided for the sign up. Yes, Indu, you are right. So this is the test management tool and also the test automation tool. The one which you are seeing right now is more like the test management tool, where you can maintain all the test cases, test steps, and modules for the application under test. So Apeksha, we need to build a framework, okay, and we need to.
Karthik, can you also read the question out first
Okay,
and then answer it, please, so that everyone else can see it because they cannot see right now what the
okay,
question is.
okay. So Apeksha, your question was, so this application is basically for our test management and we will use Selenium tool to execute these tests. Yes. So this this is the test management application where we need to build a framework to test this application. Okay. Uh, Preetham, you are saying like you registered and you logged in, but couldn't able to find anything in the dashboard. Yes, Preeta, because everything will be zero, I mean null, because you don't have any data, right? Once you enter all the data, then you can see the count in the dashboard, like how many test cases you have, how many modules you have, and how many test steps you have, and how many user-defined keywords you have. Okay, so everything will be empty once you register. Yeah, you need to give all the details. You need to provide, as I said, first you need to give AUT details. Okay, 1 second. So here in the test step, you need to give AUT details for the three fields which you are able to see here. Then you need to give the modules. You need to add modules. You need to add test cases. You need to add test steps. So once you do all those things, and also if you add reusable components, then you can see all the data available there in the dashboard or in the tables below the each and every page. Ruxana, so coming to your question, information we are going to see com/orangework exactly. So that's the thing which we need to check all the tests, setup, export. Yes. So for your information, Ruxana, in Selenium, we can't check the exported Excel sheet and all, right? So only the web part, the front-end UI part, that's what we need to check, okay? By building a framework, exactly, yeah. So team, I hope many of them are Selenium trained members, right? So you know how to do things and all. So we'll be guiding you if there's anything, any obstacles or anything, any difficulties, roadblocks in your way. But you need to take initiation and you need to start building the framework. Uh, we will divide teams based on that. You need to uh, get touch with each of your team members. You need to have daily uh, calls with your team by using any communication apps like Skype or WhatsApp. You can create groups, okay, or go to meeting. You can get 30 days of trial version if you register it. Then you can communicate with your team members. So we will divide teams based on your location and possibilities. And see questions. Okay. From Selenium to start this course. So Hindu, I suggest you to the prerequisite should be like you should know the basics of Selenium WebDriver, and it also about little bit knowledge regarding the framework.
Saqib, also let's show Trello, right? As to how we were doing the current Eniot Orange,
Oh,
how
oh
we cleaned it up, defects,
yeah,
and maybe the team can also use Trello for project or task management. It's a
oh,
good tool to use. It's a good skill for them to add as well.
sure that we should.
You
So team, uh, we are using Trello as a project management tool. Okay. So where we are maintaining all the things and tracking the uh, sprints, everything we are doing here. Let me show you. So this is the Neot orange version which we are talking about. So here we have a three-board slide, major bus. So we are more focused on the uh, to make this version more stable and defect-free version. Okay. So I'm showing you the major defects. So here are the list of defects which we have got. Okay, you can see here. These are the list. In each list, you have multiple cards. So, for example, backlog is one list. Requirements is these are the phases too. Okay, so everything will be in the backlog. Once uh, that particular issue has clear requirements, then we will move it to the requirements and we will assign a team member who needs to work on it. And once the requirements is clear, the developers drag it and they will start working on it. Okay, so here you can see the members names and all. So once the development phase, they fix the issues, they will move to the QA phase. So the QA testers will perform testing, and if they feel like it is fixed, they will move to the ready for deployment. So once we say that it is good to go for the live, then the developers move that issue to the they will fix that in the live. So they will move all the code to the live. So this is how we are tracking the status and we are managing all the things in the Trello. So it is a good tool to use. So we just opted it and we just started using this tool for the project management. Any questions, Steve? Undip, no, no, not only for the defect. I just shown you for the defect right now. We are doing for the project management as well, building the requirements and everything like the epics, backlogs, everything. So we are doing everything in the Trello. Yes, Meghana, you are saying like it is similar to Kanban. Exactly. So it is very similar to Kanban board, but it has some additional features than the whatever. But the flow, everything will be similar to the Kanban. I think we are good. If you'd like to add few things, yes.
All right, so team, we give you the liberty in terms of what you want to build. The per project is real. Eniot Orange was released very recently. In fact, we have the test version called Eniot Orange underscore stage. Once you build your automation suite for whatever URL be it, we can execute it on others also. So focus in terms of applying the skill and knowledge that you gained of framework development team. Selenium WebDriver, Java, TestNG or JUnit. Even if you don't want to use TestNG or JUnit and just stick with core Java, that is fine. But it must be a data-driven framework, keyword-driven, and a page object model. This, just to let you know, team, this application, when we give demos to the clients, right, we get amazing applause. It is, there's no application like any art currently in the market. Is it tough for others to copy the idea or be inspired and create one? Not at all. Not at all. That's where we have to keep evolving. And the purpose of this project is for you to get your hands wet onto it, not just this application, but how we can build such an application at the back end. Web front end, how is it built? Does not matter. But web front end has to be tested. And that is where your skill is important. So if you're already trained in Selenium, we'll put you part of the team and you can start to do it. Now, what will happen is uh, in the team, let's say there are 10 people. There may be two people who are absolutely brilliant or excellent in this overall development process of the framework. Then there can be five people who are mid-level, other two or three people who are very weak, and that is fine. That is a standard pyramid structure. But what you need to do is use this opportunity as an immense learning. face challenges, look at issues, how we fix. What we told you is what we expect. What we have not told you is that you can explore, you can innovate, you can bring more tools and so on, and start applying them as well. So next step is at our hand, and actually your hand also, because some of you have not uh, signed up yet. So you can decide if you want to be part of this project, and then Sakib and I will distribute you all into the teams because it's going to be done today, the team distribution, and we will take it from there. That's it from my side to Sakib.
Okay, thank you, Bhaskar. So thank you, team. Yeah, see you in the next session. Bye all.
Thank you, everyone. Bye then.